This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. President Trump sent shockwaves through the entire global auto industry yesterday, announcing a new 25% tariff on all vehicles imported to the U.S. He claimed those imports, which accounted for nearly half of all new car sales in the U.S. last year, pose a threat to the U.S.'s industrial base and national security. And on top of the vehicle import tariffs, which are supposed to go into effect on April 3rd, Trump also implemented a 25% import tariff on car parts that are not made in the U.S., like engines, transmissions, and electrical components that will kick in around May 3rd. Those tariffs will not apply to parts that comply with the USMCA Free Trade Agreement at first, but the administration is looking at ways that would essentially allow it to apply the tariff to the non-U.S. content of those parts. And these aren't the only tariffs the Trump administration wants to impose that will have big impacts on the auto industry. There's a 25% tariff on imported steel and aluminum, which will stack on top of these new tariffs. There's been threats of a 25% tariff on products that come from countries that import Venezuelan oil, which seems like it's mainly aimed at China, and also stack on top of other tariffs. And the exemption that the administration gave to Canadian and Mexican imports that comply with the USMCA ends on April 3rd as well. But it's not known what will happen with those tariffs yet. Trump believes the tariffs will help spur growth in the nation because automakers will need to make more cars in one location, and that will help the U.S. generate an additional revenue of $100 billion a year. That's a lot of money, but last year, the U.S. imported $474 billion worth of automotive-related products, and passenger cars made up $220 billion of that total. That's why auto groups and leaders from all over the world have come out against these tariffs, with many now pledging their own retaliatory tariffs. And it caused the stock prices of most automakers to drop. No doubt automakers are stockpiling cars and parts ahead of the tariffs, but as we've pointed out, that will only put off the pain for maybe a few months. If the tariffs stick around for any amount of time, pretty much every single analyst says that prices will go up by thousands of dollars, which will cause sales to go down, which will result in fewer parts and vehicles being built, which will lead to job losses and fewer vehicle choices for consumers. However, let's not forget that Trump has used tariffs as a way to negotiate with other countries in the past. And we think that's what's going on here, because as you can see, the impact would be massive. And with all this going on, we've got to imagine that the Hyundai Group is really happy with the timing of its new $21 billion investment in the U.S. Some of those funds will be used to expand its new plant in Georgia that celebrated its grand opening yesterday. The facility will make EVs for Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis, as well as the ability to build some hybrid vehicles. While it will initially have the capacity to make 300,000 vehicles a year, with the investment and expansion, the plant will eventually produce 500,000 vehicles.
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
Audi is digitizing its plants to make production safer and more efficient. The automaker says that one of its body shops in Germany is the world's first to feature virtually controlled production, which it developed with Siemens, Cisco, and Broadcom. It's taking hardware-based controllers, which are essentially the brains of the machines, and bringing them into the cloud. The virtual controllers enable software and new functions to be added faster, making production more efficient. They're first being used to make the body of a Lamborghini model, and Audi is planning to use the tech at another body shop in Germany that makes the A6. We've seen Volkswagen and Mercedes team up with Chinese companies for help on software, and now BMW is doing the same. The automaker is partnering with tech giant Alibaba to integrate AI cockpit technology into its vehicles for the Chinese market. The features will launch next year, and will include an intelligent personal assistant with enhanced voice recognition, real-time traffic information, and parking and restaurant recommendations. Alibaba's technology is also used by Xpeng, Zeekr, and Leapmotor in China. The German automakers have had to turn to Chinese tech companies for software to remain competitive because they haven't been successful developing it on their own. Foxconn is stepping up its efforts to partner with Japanese manufacturers. Last week, the Taiwanese contract manufacturer formed a partnership with Mitsubishi to build EVs. And now Reuters reports that Foxconn is going to hold an event in Japan on April 9th to showcase its EV strategy in an effort to attract new partners. Foxconn jumped into EV manufacturing 5 years ago, but previous deals with Geely and Lordstown fell apart. However, it believes it can help automakers, especially Japanese companies, to be more cost competitive with the Chinese. Electric vehicles lose the most value after 5 years of ownership. According to a new study from IC Cars, which analyzed 800,000 vehicles sold in the U.S. between March of 2024 and February of 2025, the 5-year depreciation for EVs is nearly 60% compared to the overall average of 45%. Hybrids and trucks had the lowest depreciation, losing around 40% of their value. The top 5 models with the lowest depreciation are the Porsche 911 and Cayman, Toyota Tacoma, Chevrolet Corvette, and the Honda Civic. At the other end of the spectrum, the 5 models with the highest depreciation are the Jaguar I-Pace at 72%, followed by the BMW 7 Series, Tesla Model S, Infiniti QX80, and the Maserati Ghibli. In fact, 23 of the 25 models that lost most of their value were EVs and luxury vehicles. And just a quick reminder that Autoline After Hours goes live at 3 p.m. Eastern Time today. We've got a cybersecurity expert coming on the show to tell us if all this new tech in cars is going to lead to more hacks. Plus, we'll get to this week's top news stories. So, don't miss out. But that's a wrap for this show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Intrepid Control Systems. Over-the-air engineering boost your game. And by Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.
Developing today's vehicles. Issues can happen in an instant. When's the best time to solve a problem? The minute you know you have one. Meet Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your secure, off-the-shelf solution empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.